Hello Year 3 and welcome back to our next maths lesson for the week. As always, I'm going to start by sharing our screen so we can work through the lesson together. As a starter challenge, I have some, again, multiplication questions for us to work to. We have 3 times 6 here, and we can see 3 groups of 6 just above. And then we have 3 times 60 on this side, and we have 3 groups of 6 tens for us to work through here. Underneath, we have 5 times 4. And 5 times 40. Again, that first one's going to help you with that second one. And 6 times 4 and 6 times 40. And at the bottom, we have some part-whole models to complete. We have 2 tens on this part, which makes 20. And 1 10 and 1, 2, 3, 4 ones, which makes 14. So 20 and 14 will make our whole. This one is upside down, but it works just the same way. 30 and 27 are our 2 parts. So what's our whole going to be there? I'll give you a moment to work through those. Feel free to pause the video if you need some more time, and we'll go through those answers in just a moment. Let's look at those together. 3 times 6 is equal to 18. So 3 times 60, all my digits have shifted to the left. I've got a 0 on the end, which makes 180. 5 times 4 makes 20. And again, for 5 times 40, my digits have shifted to the left, and I've got 200. 6 times 4 is 24. So 6 times 40 is equal to 240. And those patterns between those 2 calculations are really useful for calculating some more difficult multiplication facts. At the bottom, 20 and 14 make 34 as our whole, and 30 and 27 as our parts make 57 as our whole. Well done if you managed to get all of those. Moving on, today we're going to continue multiplying 2 digits by 1 digit. Today we're going to need to regroup. So let's quickly recap. Blank ones make 110. And there's another way of phrasing it here. 110 is equal to blank ones. Who can remember how many ones make 110? And 110 is equal to how many ones? Well done if you said 10 ones make 110. So 110 is equal to 10 ones. And that's going to be important today. Let's have a look at an example together. We've got 4 times 23. And I know that's the same as 4 groups of 23. So let me have a go at building those first of all, a bit like we have done previously. So 10, 20, 1, 2, 3. There's my 23. And I need to make 3 more groups, so I have 4 groups in total. I'm going to skip ahead slightly so you can see my 4 groups of 23 just there. There's my 4 groups of 23. Now I've noticed a problem here. I wonder if anyone can spot it. Have a little look. I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. And then 83, 86, 89. Oh, it goes up to 12 in my ones. I can't say my answer is 8012. That's not a number, 8012. So what do I need to do? I wonder if any of you can think, what do we need to do with all of those ones? Well done if you remember back to the beginning of the lesson and thought, right, 110 is equal to 10 ones, or 10 ones is equal to 110. So I can do some regrouping. I can circle 10 ones. There we go, I've circled 10 ones, and I can make 1 extra 10. So I'm going to get one of my 10s and I'm going to copy it below. There's my extra 10. I now have 9 10s, which makes 90, and 2 ones to get my answer, 92. So that's where that regrouping comes in useful. That's quite a long way to do that, solve that question though, because we've got to draw out all of our 10s, we've got to draw out all of our 1s, we've got to regroup 10 ones into 1 extra 10. So some of you might be thinking, Mr. Foster, is there not a quicker way we can solve? That's what I'm going to share with you now. So we're going to do it by partitioning our number 23 into 10s and 1s. So we're still doing that same calculation, still doing 4 groups of 23. But I've split 23 into 20, which is 2 10s, and 3 1s. Now I can do each of those separately. I can do 4 times 20 and 4 times 3 and add them together. And that will give me my answer too. So 4 times 20, I'm thinking, right, what's 4 times 2? 4 times 2 is 8, so 4 times 20 is going to be 80. 4 times 3, I know that one is equal to 12. Now I've got one more step. I've got 80 on this side. 4 groups of 20 makes 80. 4 groups of 3 makes 12. I've just got to add them together. So 80 plus 12 is equal to 92. And that's another way that we can solve it a little bit quickly. Let's look at another example again, so we can work through both of those methods together. And you can decide then which one you prefer and which one you want to use going forwards. So this one says 3 times 25. And I know that's the same as 3 groups of 25, which is what I'm going to create now. So I need 10, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's one group of 25. I need 2 more. Again, I'm going to skip forward a little bit so we can see all 3 groups of 25 here. There's 1 group, 2 group, 3 groups of 25. Again, can any of you spot an issue here? What do I need to do? So at the moment, I've got 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, and 5, 10, 15. I've got 60, 15. Again, that's not a number. I can't say my answer is 60, 15. What do I need to do? Well done if you said you need to regroup 10 ones into 1 10, just like we did before. So I've circled 10 ones. I'm going to draw an arrow down here so I can show where that's going to go. And I'm going to create 1 extra 10. There's my extra 10. I now have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75. So my answer is 75. And I'm going to write that in there. That's our same method that we started with using the base 10. Let's look at that other method. I've broken down our scaffold a little bit more here, so we're going to have to do a bit more together. So 3 times 25. I need to start by partitioning 25 into those 10s and those 1s. So I know 25, there are 2 10s which make 20, so I'm going to write 20 there, and 5 1s that make 5. Now I'm thinking, what am I multiplying each of those by? Oh, let me look back at my question. Times by 3, I need 3 groups. So underneath 20, I'm going to do 3 times 20, which equals 3 times 2 equals 6. So 3 times 20, that's going to be 60. I'm going to shift that one to one side a little bit, so we've got space for the other one. And here, I've got the number 5. How much am I timesing that by? Well, I'm multiplying that by 3 as well, because everything has 3 groups, or everything is being multiplied by 3. Then do 3 times 5. 5, 10, 15. 3 times 5 equals 15. My last step, I just need to add them together. 60 plus 15 will give me my answer. 60 plus 15 is equal to 75. And that's another way that we can solve it a little bit more quickly. So I'm wondering now if you can have a go at a challenge. If you're thinking, I'm not quite sure on those methods yet, feel free to rewind the video, go back to the first example and work through it with me. If you are ready, here's some examples you can have a go at yourselves. We have 22 times 5, 34 times 3, and 18 times 3. Now for each of those, you can decide if you do one of the methods, if you do both of the methods, or maybe you're going to change the methods for each question. I will leave that up to you. You can choose how you solve them. As always, feel free to pause the video here, work through those examples, and we'll come back together in a moment's time. Let's look at those answers together. So, I've done the partitioning method for each one. For the first one, 22 is partitioned into 20 and 2. I then did 20 times 5, which equals 100, and 2 times 5, which equals 10. 100 plus 10 is equal to 110. So my answer for that one is equal to 110. For my next one, it was 34 times 3. So I first partitioned 34 into 30 and 4, like you can see there. Now, because we're multiplying by 3, I first did 30 times 3, which equals 90, and then 4 times 3, which equals 12. My final step is to add them together. 90 plus 12 is equal to 102. Last one, 18 times 3. I've partitioned 18 into 10 and 8. So I've first done 10 times 3. 10 times 3 is 30. Then I've done 8 times 3. 8 times 3 is 24. 30 plus 24 is equal to 54. And there are my answers for all 3 questions. Well done if you managed to get them. Well done if you managed to use one of those methods. Even better if you managed to use both of them. So well done to those. Now, moving on, before we finish, we've got a bit of a word problem here. And it's similar to ones we've done before. It says, arrange the digit cards into the calculation below. How many different totals can you make? What is the greatest total you can make? And what is the smallest? If you want a bit of an extra challenge, what do you notice? Does this always happen? Now, I'm going to give you some time to think about that. But just remember, you can move those digits wherever you want to, but you can only use each digit card once. I cannot reuse the 5 twice, for example. If you want to have a go at trying to find some different totals you can make, pause the video now. If you want to find the greatest and the smallest as well, again, pause the video and have a go, and I'm going to show you some of that in a moment. Let's come back together there, and let's look at some of those solutions. Now, I'm not going to go through all of the different totals you can make. If you've made lots and lots of different totals, you can send them in, and I'll have a look at them through the email accounts. I've shown you the greatest total you can make, though. The greatest total is by doing 5 in my first card, and then 4 in my next card, so it's 4 10s and 3 1s at the end. 5 times 43 is equal to 215. I believe that's the greatest total you can make. And the smallest is 3 in the first card, then 4, and then 5. And 3 times 45 would be equal to 135. And that would be the smallest total that you can make. As an extra challenge, if you want something else to take away before we finish, I've got blank, a 2-digit blank, times 1-digit blank equals 72. I wonder what those blanks could be this time. Can you have a go at filling in those blanks? Again, pause the video here if you want some time to work through that, and we'll go through it in a moment's time. Let's look at that one together. For this one, I had a go at doing 24 times 3 equals 72. And to show you how I did that one in my head, I know 20 times 3 equals 60. 4 times 3 equals 12. 60 plus 12 is equal to 72. And I'm using that partitioning method, almost doing it in my head now, to show that answer. Just one last question to finish with. As usual, we're going to finish with our fluency. 354, take away 235. Have a go at solving that one yourself. Pause the video now, have a go, and then we'll go through it in a moment's time. Let's look at that fluency question together. Now, I've laid mine out like a column methods. Now, I've spotted one tricky column. Can you spot it too? Well done if you said the ones, because at the moment, we've only got 4 ones, but we have to take away 5. So I haven't got enough ones in that column. So what do I need to do? I know I need to take one of my 10s. So if I take 1 10 away, I've only got 4 10s left. And that creates 10 extra ones. So now I have 14 ones. And I can do 14 take away 5, which equals 9. 4 take away 3, which equals 1. And 3 take away 2, which equals 1. So this question is equal to 119. And well done again if you've got that. Lots of regrouping today. Well done if you persevered through that lesson. There were some tricky concepts in there. But as always, I look forward to seeing your wonderful, wonderful learning. Thank you, Year 3, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.